Okay, I'm at the Touchstone Gallery in Washington, D.C., and this is my work called Songs of Joy. So let's go in. These are all based on singers, and the whole idea is that all together they make a sound. They make separate sounds, but all together they make an even more jubilant sound. So we can go in and look at some bunches of these. Let's go up there. So now these four, actually this is encaustic work. And encaustic is a very ancient medium. It's a hot wax medium as opposed to oil, like oil paint has an oil medium. And everything is done hot. It's very labor intensive. Every stroke requires a heat source that fuses it into the layer underneath. So it's made of beeswax, damar, and pigment, very high quality pigment. You can see in these. Let's go into more. They're really paintings made with encaustic. And they're based, some of them on singers that I know. This is based on Elizabeth Klugel, who had the idea for the whole series. She actually said, why doesn't Marilyn make some paintings of singers? Let's go into some more. Some of these are based on images of gospel singers, because as I began working with the series, I realized that I really was after a certain, I want to say almost religious, spiritual quality, really like a prayer or a real joyful sound. That's why they're called Songs of Joy. But that really came to me. When I started, I was just doing singers, because my husband works with lots of singers, and I've taken lots of photographs of them. So let's see. This is Gary Poster. Two of these are Gary Poster, based on Gary Poster. This is one of my favorite images, a gospel singer. That's based on Gary again and his wife Karen Friedman. This is one of my favorites. This is very colorful. Let's see how close we can get. You can see the texture of the encaustic. It gets built up and scraped back and carved into. So let's see if I can get one of the other ones. I have some favorites in here. This is one of my favorites. It has some writing in it, and it says something like, your voice goes out in ripples of sound into the world. I really love this. And it also has a very golden, there's gold paint in those lines. Let's go up and see what else we can find. So I think this is based on Chris Royal. Actually, I took this photograph of Chris Royal. He's a Washington, D.C. composer and dynamite trumpet player. And in most of these cases, if I'm working with an image, sometimes underneath the paint, the image was black and white, so really I've created the entire painting as a painting. This one you can see that there's some image under there that I scraped back to. I also wrote in here. Can't remember what I wrote.
Yeah, I just write a check. Write a check, credit card, any card you want.
And it started to just kind of radiate with this brilliant color, which I didn't plan. I don't plan any of the color of these before I started. So there's imagery under a lot of the paint. Sometimes you see a little bit of that imagery, and sometimes you don't see any of that imagery because the paintings are so transformed. The less I know what I'm going to do, and the less easy they are, in a way, the more the color picks up the brilliance of all the layers of color underneath it.